So today let's talk about one of the cheapest iPhones you can buy on the market right now, which is the iPhone SE2. And so you might be wondering, should you actually buy this in 2024? So let's begin with the design, and yes, it looks pretty archaic by today's standards. This phone is essentially based on the iPhone 8, which was based on the iPhone 6, and that's a design that came out a decade ago. But fun fact, Apple still sells this design because the SE3 looks identical to this. But honestly guys, whilst I might sound like an Apple sheep here, this really is not that big of an issue. Yes, there are Android phones even at this price that look a lot more modern, but they generally also have thick bezels that are uneven, so the SE2 in comparison isn't all too bad. And there is a plus here with the older design, which is Touch ID. Now, I do love Face ID, don't get me wrong, and I've been happily using it for years, but using Touch ID again does make me miss it a little, I can't lie. There are some angles where Face ID sometimes doesn't work at, but that's not really an issue for Touch ID. It's super fast and reliable, and I also love the haptics with this home button. The display also is something people complain about with the SE, and whilst it still does pale in comparison to what Android phones offer, I can once again live with this. Apple products usually have great LCDs, and even with the low resolution on paper, this still looks pretty crispy, I can't lie. I don't mind the 60Hz refresh rate, it's got P3 support so colors still look great, and it's mostly fine for regular usage, especially for this price. I will say the only con is brightness, it's a tad low outdoors, but most low-end Android phones also don't have very bright panels. And personally, the screen size is a non-issue because I don't watch videos very often on my phone. I'm usually scrolling on social media, and so the display is ideal for that, and the compact size is quite refreshing after using a 14 Pro Max for nearly 2 years. Now the build is a lot better than what you would usually find at this kind of price. It's aluminium and glass, which feels great in the hand, but also has features like IP67 and wireless charging, which are rarities at this price point. That's nice. You know what else would be nice? If you happen to click the subscribe button, of course, I would greatly appreciate it and would bring you the latest about Apple right to your subscription box, so please consider it. It would be appreciated. Join the Saranbyte gang now. But anyways, the best part about this iPhone and the aspect that blows me away is the performance this phone has. So the SE2 packs the A13 chipset, and yes, I'm aware this originally debuted with the iPhone 11 back in 2019, but the crazy thing is, this is still more powerful than some mid-range Android phones. Now you could argue, why does this matter? A low-end Android chipset is still good enough for most people's needs, right? Well yes, that is true, but you can definitely notice this phone chug a little when playing more complex games, whereas this plays most games without any issues. Now I'm definitely not a serious mobile gamer by any means, but my brother who has the iPad 9 with the exact same SoC plays all kinds of games 24/7, and he's never once complained about the performance, including more heavier titles like Minecraft. And so yes, as one expects, general usage is very smooth on this, and coupled with the optimization of iOS, this phone outperforms every other phone at this price. Really, the only issue this has performance-wise is the RAM. This only has 3 gigs, which is pretty limiting nowadays, and so I do notice apps don't stay in the background as often. But honestly, I should not be complaining when this phone is so affordable nowadays. At the end of the day, most are going to be more than happy with the performance. And the great thing about this having a solid chipset is that it should still get support for a while. Right now, the A12 devices are the oldest models to support iOS 18, and so you could probably get another 1 or 2 years of support, which is pretty impressive considering most refurbished and used Android phones at this price might not even get 1 year of support. And the good news continues because we have now come to the cameras on this phone, which is once again one of the best at this price point. Now to be fair, you can find Pixel 8 phones for around the same price, and they have great cameras, but I would argue the SE2 offers the overall better camera experience, mainly because of video quality. I've used this phone as a B-roll camera for my reviews, and it's been exceptional for that purpose. Yes, it has only one sensor on the back and it also does not have many zoom options, but basic footage honestly looks really good, and you won't find most phones at this kind of price offering similar levels of quality in terms of video recording. In fact, for some of you guys considering this as a YouTube camera to start your channel with, honestly that's not a bad idea because you likely won't find a decent 4K camera for $100, and so the footage here is unbeatable for the price. This might not offer some of the newer video features like ProRes or cinematic video, but for this kind of price, I'm not too annoyed, and for recording those special moments, this camera delivers. But also photos from the sensor are solid. It does have Smart HDR2, and so even with the sensor being the same one from the 2018 iPhone XR, it's still pretty good in most lighting conditions. I say most because annoyingly there is no night mode on this, That's really the big feature Apple refuses to give the SE range. Even the SE3 today misses out on that, but you do get all the portrait mode features. Also, the front-facing camera is an older 7 megapixel sensor, but again, because of Apple's computational magic, it performs very well, and so I'm overall very happy with the cameras. Speakers and mic-wise, I've had no issues. They're very solid, and here's a sample for you guys. Now everything so far sounds fantastic, but some of you guys might be wondering, how's the endurance on this? Well, it's not good. It's pretty awful actually. Simply put, I'm getting a max of 4 hours of screen on time, and that's with near 100% battery health as well. So yes, this is definitely the biggest reason I would recommend getting the SE3 instead, because if you like this form factor, you can find that for slightly more and get the newer A15 chipset, and also crucially the much better endurance. Another upgrade the SE3 brings that's important is 5G. Now at one point in time I did not care about this, but 5G infrastructure has improved in the UK, and I do definitely now notice huge improvements in my local speeds. And so it was weird going back to a 4G only device, though I do want to mention this could be partly because some carriers are artificially reducing their 4G speeds just to make the jump to 5G seem more prominent, which is cheeky. However, once again, I do want to say if you're buying this for $100 or less, you probably don't have very high expectations, and so if you're on a tight budget, you likely don't care about this not having 5G, and whether the addition of 5G benefits you really depends on where you live. Plus, if you're mostly at home or at your office, Wi-Fi performance has been solid on this, and I also have not had any Bluetooth issues. Also, if you have a charger near you at all times, you can work around the poor battery life. Because the physical battery is so small, you can charge it up pretty fast, and so you can give this multiple top-ups and get through the day. Also, there are those who are not addicted to their phones and only need 4 hours of screen on time, and so yeah, the battery life isn't that big of an issue. And that kind of sums up my thoughts on this phone. I can nitpick all day and talk about the compromises, but at the end of the day guys, it's $100 or less for this phone, and for that kind of price, the fact it runs the latest version of iOS, runs all the newest apps, and also has no performance issues for the most part is impressive alone. And so yes, if you're looking for an iPhone on a strict budget or want a backup iPhone, you really can't go wrong with this. The SE2 will continue to be a bargain on the used and refurbished market for the foreseeable future. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching. Right, news regarding the iPad 11 has certainly been a little odd because we had heard news about it keeping the same old A14